What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to rank every way of weight shoe that's currently available. We're going to go through them one by one from my least favorite pair to the pair that I think is currently the best basketball shoe that they have. If you're interested in older models that are still available, I can recommend you check out the video I did about half a year ago. There's some older models in there too, because for this video we're only focusing on the recent releases that are still widely available on their website. For the first pair, without further ado, it's going to be the Wade Flash 2. A beautiful looking shoe, especially in this colorway as well. The heel tab goes crazy, but just my least favorite performer. I'm not saying that these are bad, just overall I think the other shoes are better. They retail for around 100 euros or dollars. If you use my code LucasSimon10, it gets you a discount on every model on the Way of Wade website. Just recently released new colorways are not activated until about 2 weeks after the release date. The traction performance on these is very good. I can highly recommend them for outdoors as well, as they use Tough RB, which is Way of Wade's most durable rubber, and a term you're going to hear a lot more during this video. Supposedly it's 2.5 times more durable than other rubber setups. What also makes these really good value for money for a budget basketball shoe is that you have full length boom cushioning, which is Way of Wade's second most premium cushioning, so a really nice thing for a low priced shoe. My downside for them is the support features, especially torsional support, just isn't as good. So if you're a heavier player or a player who puts a lot of force into their shoes, these might not be for you. The materials are all synthetic, breathable, very soft. At number 7 we have the Wade Vision 7. These were ranked higher in my last video, or their predecessor model. The reason why they get a slight downgrade is because they don't use Tough RB anymore, which is a shame because otherwise these would be perfect for outdoors. Retail price also around 100 euros or dollars if you use my code. And the reason for them being so good for outdoors, apart from the outsole, is that you have two cushioning setups in a budget shoe, full length boom and light foam ultra combined in a shoe for around 100 euros is a steal. The upper is also reinforced in certain high wear and tear areas, so these are very durable. So that's just a point of critique that Way of Wade didn't implement the Tough RB. The outsole is the grooves and the pattern is relatively easy to move, so I think the top layer will be worn off very quickly. The layer underneath seems to be kind of durable as well, so I think you can take them outdoors, but they won't be as durable as the predecessor model. At number 6 we have the D-Low 1, also yet again a beautiful looking shoe with a lot of awesome colorways, coming in right at around 100 euros. The reason why these retail prices might seem a little bit lower to you is because in Europe they kind of go for less than they go for in the US. I noticed that on past videos where I had subscribers comment that or point that out. The reason why I can provide the US prices is because obviously I live in Europe and I have access to the European website from Way of Wade, and that's just the prices they go for there. But in any case, as I said, you can get a discount with my code, but just a short apology if the prices aren't the same that you see if you're not located in Europe. Back to the D-Low ones, we've got a Tough RB outsole, so these are also very nice for outdoors. In general, Way of Wade is really producing banger basketball shoes and bang for your buck basketball shoes, and most of them can be worn outdoors and indoors, which is just a great thing if you're on a lower budget and you still want good performing basketball shoes. Another great thing here is the cushioning setup. Two different cushioning setups yet again, just like on the Vision 7, full length boom and light foam ultra in the heel. So also a very good setup if you want a lower to the ground forefoot and very good impact protection in the heel. The reason why I don't like them so much is because the fit is very narrow, unfortunately, especially in the midfoot area, and the torsional support is yet again not the best. You do have a Proba lock system that also kind of looks like this butterfly wing here, that's part of the whole design theme, but it just doesn't work as well. I just wish it would be a little bit more reinforced right here, because this is an area where I think if you put a lot of force in there, it can just bend too easily and maybe even pop if you're a very heavy player or someone who puts a lot of force into their basketball shoes. At number 5, this might be a little bit of a surprise, the Way of Wade 11. I just didn't like him as much as the other shoes that we're going to talk about. The standout features of the shoe are definitely the traction performance, full length GCU, and a very unique looking pattern. That's also not something you see every day. And don't let the pattern discourage you. It is very shallow, it looks to be very thin, but it actually holds up well. The only area where I noticed some durability issues was right here in the top of the toe area where the outsole moves up into the upper. my pairs wore off very quickly. There, like 1 to 2 wears, I could see some material moving off there, but then after that they held up pretty well. The cushioning setup is superb, so if you want a lot of cushioning and impact protection, this is the shoe to go for. You've got 2 layers of boom foam and a carbon fiber plate in the middle. They called it a carbon core drive system, and it has a lot of torsional support and very good impact protection. If I try to flex them, as you can see, way different than on the D-Low ones, way more support, way more stiff, and that's exactly what a carbon fiber plate gives you. These used to be really expensive, around 220 euros or dollars. Right now on the European website they're going for 140, which is also a really good value for money price. The downsides to the shoe are that they're kind of a little bit clunky. As you can see, they have a very wide base, which for one is good if you don't want to roll your ankle in, if you want to have a lot of support. But on the other hand, it's just a little bit too wide for a lot of players and too clunky feeling. The shoe itself is actually relatively lightweight, but just because of the build of the shoe, they can feel heavier than they actually are. And another downside is the fit. It's very narrow in the midfoot and there's a lot of space in the toe box, so it's not an ideal fit for a lot of players. At number 4, we actually have 2 pairs, the All City 13 and the All City 13 Encore. Now, please don't get mad at me for ranking one higher than the other or lower than the other. The reason why I just can't do that is because I think both pairs work better for certain players and both pairs don't work as well for certain players. So let's just get into it and talk about the differences and what players I think they're better for, and then you can decide what's more important for you, and that's the pair you can get. On the regular AC13, the short version is they're slightly less durable. They've got pretty much the same cushioning setup. They're not as supportive and they're slightly lighter, and there's colorways with way thinner and softer materials. For more detail, we have a GCU outsole and normal rubber. On the All City 13 Encore, we have a tough RB outsole. So if you're playing outdoors more, I suggest you get this pair, as the cushioning setup is the same, but the outsole is slightly more durable. If you play indoors, it doesn't really matter. You can get the pair that has the better colorway or the colorway that you like better. Simply for the bite, it's very similar. Both are very good, but the Encore is better outdoors. Dust pickup is not an issue with either pair, so you're good to go if you play on dusty courts. The cushioning setup, as I said, is the same full length boom. It also feels very similar. Here you can see it as well because the foam is colored in the same color as the rest of the shoe. Here you can see it a little bit better, but there is a small difference, and this pair feels a little bit more stiff because we have a polymer core drive system. So similar to the Wave Weight 11, we have a layer of boom, then we have a shank plate, and then we have another layer of boom. Whereas here we have this full length boom setup, and then we have a Euro plate underneath it for torsional support. It's just a little bit more flexible. The cushioning is slightly softer because we don't have the torsion plate in the middle, but the All City 13 Encore provides better torsional support with a little bit less stepping comfort. The materials are the last difference. The regular All City 13 comes in various different synthetic leather or just regular synthetic mesh-like uppers. They're slightly more breathable depending on what colorway you would want to get. There's not really that many differences between the upper. These are a little bit more stiff and take longer to break in. Colorways that have a thinner mesh-like upper are just good to go right off the box. And here we have also a mesh-like upper, but it's a little bit thicker than on your All City 13, which again adds more support. There's also colorways that have a strap. It doesn't really do that much for support, so you can also get one without a strap if you're worried about that. The padding is also the same and the breathability is the same in my opinion as well. The fit, the Encore is slightly more wide foot friendly, so maybe that's also something you want to take into account when deciding which of these you want to get. And the retail price is the same in Austria right now. They go for around 110 euros, which is amazing value for money, especially compared to other brands and compared to what tech you get in this shoe. At number 3, we have the same story as we have the 8085 Ultra and the 8085 Ultra V2, and the reason why I couldn't rank one higher than the other is, yet again, certain players will enjoy this one more, certain players will enjoy this one more. In short, this one has thinner materials, is a little bit softer on your feet, it's lighter and feels more agile on foot, and the V2, similar to the AC13 and AC13 Encore, is a little bit more heavy, but has reinforced materials that make them more supportive. The rest is exactly the same, so don't have to compare. We've got a GCU and tough RB outsole. However, Only this small part right here is GCU and the rest is tough RB. Something I need to say while talking about the outsole is that on this pair, so the regular 8085 Ultra, I got comments from subscribers and followers all over my socials saying that they had durability issues. I didn't get that for the 8085 Ultra. For me, they performed exactly the same way, but I also rotate shoes a lot, so that could be the reason why I didn't notice durability issues here on the 8085 Ultra. The bite itself is really good, no matter if you're indoors or outdoors, and dust pickup also wasn't an issue. The cushioning setup is exactly the same on both, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It's Wörthersee most premium cushion. I said boom cushioning a lot. Now we have super boom cushioning, and here it's in the form of a drop-in midsole. It's incredibly bouncy. You've got great impact protection, and you're still not too high off the ground. So essentially, these two shoes have the best drop-in midsole setup on the market, in my personal opinion. Both shoes also have a carbon fiber midfoot shank plate. Some colorways of the regular 805 had carbon fiber accents here on the heel. We don't have that here anymore because we have this upgraded upper. I mentioned the differences already, so just decide what's more important to you: more support or more agility and a little bit less weight on court. At number 2, we have last ranking videos number 1. The Way of Weight 10 has finally been dethroned in one of my videos. I've talked about them forever, it seems like, because they're still one of the best basketball shoes available. What makes them so good is that we have a full-length tough RB outsole, so they're durable enough for outdoors, but they still provide a good bite indoors as well. Then we have full-length boom cushioning, which used to be the best setup from Way of Weight until Super Boom came along. And what really makes these stand out is the full-length carbon fiber shank plate. Incredibly bouncy, great energy return, still not too high off the ground, so overall an amazing basketball shoe. They retail for around 180 euros right now in Austria, and the materials are also incredibly thin, yet still supportive enough. So this is really one hell of a performer and one of my favorite all-time basketball shoes. By the way, I'm also thinking of doing a video on exactly that topic, my favorite all-time basketball shoes, because I looked through some old pictures in my camera roll and I just got a little bit nostalgic seeing myself in shoes like the PG6 or the LeBron 20s, or just even before that, the Harden 1s or the Jordan 29s. So I'm definitely thinking about doing that. Let me know if you would like to see that video. And now for the number 1 shoe on this list, the best Way of Weight basketball shoe right now, and not only that, also the best basketball shoe right now is the Way of Weight 12. They really put out another performance banger. These are a worthy successor of the Way of Weight 10s. As I said, I didn't like the 11s as much, but this pair is absolutely phenomenal and doesn't really have a weakness. They also retail for around 180 euros in Europe. I heard it's about 200, 220 in the US. But in my opinion, if you have the money, it's still worth it. If you don't have that much money, you can get other pairs. My recommendation would be the All-City 13 or All-City 13 Encore, as these are the best value for money. But simply for performance, this is as good as it gets. For the traction performance, we have a full-length GCU outsole. As I said before in the Way of Weight 11, don't let that pattern discourage you. These are incredibly good, have a phenomenal bite and also a relatively loud squeak. And the cushioning setup is what makes these truly stand out from the other shoes. 2 layers of super boom cushioning with a carbon fiber plate in the middle. So you've got amazing impact protection, still have good bounce and torsional support because of that carbon fiber plate. And somehow they managed to make them not be too high off the ground while still having great impact protection throughout. So really an amazing job by the Way of Weight team. You also have 2 more additional carbon fiber plates here in the heel area on both sides, medial and lateral. They're a little bit softer. I was wondering if the compound is just different, but a subscriber commented on my last video, or actually on my review video on these, that they just didn't put on the finishing touches there, because usually they use a chemical to just harden them up, and they didn't do that here to add more flexibility in the heel area, which is more important so that it doesn't hurt or pinch into your heel. And that's a very great insight, so thanks for that. My only complaint for this shoe is that so far there is no colorway available without leather materials. I went for this colorway because it only has a very small patch of pigskin leather here on the tongue, but I'll be waiting for a colorway with full synthetic materials. Another small downside is, if you don't like that, I need to mention it, the materials have a very strong plasticky smell at first, so I aired them out for about a week on my balcony and now it's gone. But just to mention that if you don't like that kind of stuff. The lacing system also works very well, support features are amazing, and what's also crazy is how light this basketball shoe is. I think they're just slightly over 400 grams in a size 14 US, and that's just insane because usually Curry shoes are the only shoes in my collection or rotation that have that kind of weight, and they have way less support, less cushioning, and are not as durable as this pair. With that being said, that's all I have for you today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any other questions, just comment down below or also leave a comment for the algorithm. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate if you could leave a like. Of course, if you want to buy any of these shoes, I'd really appreciate if you could use my affiliate code or my affiliate link. Just check the description box down below. And if you did all that, please leave a subscription to my channel to not miss any other videos. Have a good one and see you next time.